bad. I'm sorry.
Well, good evening. It is 5:30. We are back with episode 9 of our GBO Bodcast, and we are live from Houston, Texas, and Beaumont, Texas this fine evening. And we have our bro host, Chris Cruz, Texas director, and we have Dr. Kim Carpin, board certified plastic surgeon and owner of Aqua Med Spa. So welcome, Kim.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, ma'am. So I'd like to just get a little bit of a background, how you got into the medical field and really a little bit of background about you. And we'll get into your med spa and also your services for plastic surgery. But tell us a little bit about you.
Well, great. Unfortunately, I'm not a Houston, Texan native, but I couldn't wait to get here. I'm from Michigan. I trained in Nevada. I went to the Nevada School of Medicine. And 14 short years later, I finished my training as a plastic surgeon. My training included a 6-year integrated plastic surgery residency in UTMB Galveston. So that's how I first became introduced to Texas. And I married a plastic surgeon, and we ended up here in this beautiful state. And I'm now setting up my very own private practice and medical spa. So we're able to treat people both with surgery and non-surgical procedures. So we try to offer both routes.
Good. How long have you been practicing for now?
I graduated from my residency in 2011. I had my medical degree in 2006.
Okay. And you, do you come from a medical family, or are you first generation?
I'm the first physician. My mother was a nurse in pediatrics, and I actually thought I was going to become a pediatrician, but I really fell in love with surgery. I love the artistic side of it, the fact that you can have immediate change, and most of my patients are healthy and happy, and so that was a fun population. So.
Here's what we find really interesting. I know there are a lot of plastic surgeons who specialize just in plastic surgery, but you also have non-invasive procedures in your med spa. So you just recently took over the Aqua Med Spa, and it's ACQUA in Clear Lake, which is Southeast Houston, which is part of obviously your practice now. What are some of the procedures? Because we have a very wide audience. We have non-competitors, we have moms, we have competitors who are looking to maybe, just try and handle a little, stretch marks, loose skin. You're trying to get all those things. So what are some of the non-invasive procedures that you offer?
Right. So I think one of our most popular is cool sculpting, which is going to use freezing technology to freeze the fat. And that can easily be a lunchtime procedure. You come in, we use the device, we freeze your fat in about 30 minutes, and you can just carry on with your day. So the downtime is very low, and you can really get those stubborn areas that no matter what you do, the little fat pockets that always sit there and bug you, this is perfect for it. And it'll give you about a 25% reduction with each treatment. It's FDA approved. It's very safe and effective. We also have just Botox fillers, like very routine, keeping your face looking young and fresh. We also do microneedling. Hydrofacial is extremely popular. So if you just want to have a fresh glow on the day of your performance, it's awesome. So we try to get the best technology and the most effective treatments that are non-surgical here in this med spa.
Good. You mentioned microneedling. So let's say I were to come in. Is there an ideal time? Is it a week before showtime? Is it 2 weeks? Give us a little bit of a rundown as far as downtime or times which are ideal or optimal.
I mean, the sooner you can get in, the better. It gives the treatment some time to take effect. So for instance, for microneedling, the downtime is about 24 hours. You're going to have some redness of the face. And then if you're trying to treat something like deep acne scars and you just want to, or stretch marks or a poor looking scar on your face and you really want to prove it, it may need more than one treatment. It might need one every month for a couple of months. So the sooner you can get in, the more we can plan and the better your outcome.
So question, I work with a ton of female clients, and of course we, obviously have a ton of female athletes that compete and all that. I run across this a lot of times. A lot of the girls are very, very self-conscious about baby stretch marks, cesarean scar marks. What what would you recommend best procedures for those areas, those problems?
Right. So it really depends on the severity of the problem. So is it something like a very, very thick, deep scar with an uneven appearance? That's something that might need a surgical treatment.
Right.
Where we call it a scar revision. If it's something that perhaps isn't as terrible, maybe a lighter stretch mark, we might be able to do some microneedling, which is a much easier fix. If it's more of a color problem, perhaps the stretch marks are dark or very pink, we may use a laser, which is also a minimally invasive technique with very little downtime to address those issues.
Okay, awesome.
So we have someone in the Valley already who's planning a road trip to come see us. So Elsa Garcia said she's coming up from the RGV, the Rio Grande Valley, to come see you. So
excited.
Yes. So what exactly is microneedling? Can you get into that? Because that kind of sounds cool, but I have no idea what it means.
Okay, so microneedling, we use a skin pen, which is the name, which is an FDA-approved device. It's very safe, and it actually uses tiny little needles to poke holes in your skin, and that actually causes new collagen. So what happens is as we age, as we lose the collagen or the elasticity and tone, it's really what causes us to look young, and it stimulates new collagen. So it's going to help with the improvements of acne scars, fine lines, or any other scars that you might have on your face, or if you just want to improve the texture. Even if you have active acne, it can help with that. So it's just going to clear up your complexion and give you a great glow.
Very cool.
It's not painful. It feels like sandpaper. So we do numb your face, so it is tolerable. It's nothing that you have to go to sleep for.
Why am I the only one with wrinkles on here? I just noticed that. Y'all have like perfect skin. So are you actually saying this?
Yeah, it's Botox. It's okay for men. We call it Botox.
Yeah, I just got my Botox yesterday, man. So
I feel like I need to get that now. So let's talk about Botox, because I know that, essentially, as we're, in competition as competitors, we're metabolizing fat. And so I've heard different stories, and maybe you can clarify this because I've heard, essentially what your body is looking for is when you're leaning out, it's looking for fat to burn and, as a fuel source at that point. So because Botox is considered here, do you see that metabolizing faster when someone's on prep, or what do you recommend, and how far out would you recommend if someone's looking to look their best on stage? When would be the right time for injections for that?
Right. So I would recommend getting an injection at least 2 weeks before a show. The reason for that is depending on which type of Botox you're using, you might need up to a week for the full effect. And then if you wanted to do a little touch up, you have time for that as well. There are some things that can, obviously with people who have very high metabolisms, who are exercising quite a bit, you're going to run through the product a little quicker. I think some things that happen is some patients have a zinc deficiency, so make sure that your zinc is you have appropriate zinc intake. For instance, if you're not eating a lot of wheat, or if you're not eating a lot of meat, you may have a zinc deficiency. So even just taking a supplement right, a few months before you plan to get Botox, that would be great. And obviously doing it routinely every 3 to 4 months, you're going to keep the wrinkle under control.
Got it. So what would be the benefit of zinc? Because we talk about ZMA, we talk about calcium and magnesium being important as micronutrients. What does the zinc do to help facilitate that?
So the Botox actually uses the zinc to bind on the neuromuscular junction to prevent the muscle from contracting. So what happens is the Botox gets in the way, and it's going to, it docks to the neuromuscular junction using zinc. So if there's not enough zinc, then the Botox can't dock. And so if you're zinc deficient, the Botox we put in you never binds, and it sort of gets dissolved. So it's almost like a waste of your money. And so elderly people tend to have lower zinc levels in general. So it's a good idea, I think, just to have that supplement, because Botox is costly. You want to make sure what you are getting is actually working.
Very good. Now, you talked a little bit about, obviously Botox making you look younger. We do have a lot of female athletes who might need, they might have thicker scars or, tissue that's just extra skin from losing. We have a lot of transformation clients too. I mean, we have people losing 80, 100, 150 pounds, and they're on stage and they want to look their best and they're very proud of their accomplishments. What are some of the surgical procedures for someone who wants to maybe there's a lot of loose skin? What do you typically recommend, especially in the midsection?
So with a lot of loose skin, there are some minimally invasive procedures that might help. But if you're talking about someone who has a massive weight loss, meaning over 50 to 100 pounds, they're going to need surgery. And that would come into either abdominoplasty, meaning a front side tummy tuck, or a body lift where we go all the way around, so front and back, to really tighten up the skin.
Question about like tummy tucks and all that stuff around the midsection. It's kind of an old wives' tale, I guess. I don't know, rumor or whatever you want to call it, that once something like that procedure is done, that it is hard to see abs in the area. I'm assuming that people are scared of scar tissuing. I'm not really sure. Is there any truth to that at all? That it's harder to get scarring out of that area so you can see abs clearly?
I'm sure there is that concern to have some scar tissue. I think if the procedure is done really carefully, you can actually combine it with liposuction and do what we call liposculpture. So now we're going to contouring. There are some surgeons that will even do the 3D etching, where we're etching the fat so that it looks like muscle. There's a lot of things that you can do. And honestly, if this patient's very lean and has very little body fat, you should be able to see that definition after surgery.
Very cool. So, Chris, you'll appreciate this. Your wife just said, or dropping 2 humans. So, Kim, you don't know this, but Chris Cruz and his wife just had twins a couple of weeks ago.
Oh,
correct. Yes.
Yes, that's pretty hard on the body.
Yeah, she's kind of a wreck over what the damage they cause, but yeah, she may be coming to see you after this. So, and on top of our 5-year-old, so Yeah,
that's a great question. So the body, if you think about it like a balloon, right? Even with massive weight loss patients, your body gets stretched out and your skin and the elastin and everything doesn't recoil. So you lose that recoil. Unless, of course, you're Heidi Klum, then you can have as many children as you want and then go do a runway 3 weeks later. But that's why the tummy tuck is amazing, because it's going to get rid of that extra skin and kind of restore it. And we try to hide the scars under the bikini line. And there's all types of things we can do to minimize scarring.
Okay. Very cool. When we talk about your clinic, we wanted to we want to give everyone a little surprise. We have our audience growing by the minute here, so it's really cool to see as I'm looking up to see who's joining. So my wife is watching, Chris's wife is watching. It looks like everybody from around the state of Texas plus is as well. So I know that you're located in Houston, but one of the things that I'm really impressed with is, what is the difference between a board certified surgeon and a non-board certified surgeon? Because I know you have to go through a lot more certifications and schooling or different things to get that cert. And what does that really mean? Because I know that there's only a certain percentage of you out there who are like at the elite level.
Right. So being a board certified plastic surgeon, you first have to meet the minimum requirements, which means you have to be at a specific residency program in the United States that's considered a plastic and reconstructive surgery program. We have to have a minimum number of surgical cases, and then we have to do a 2-year board certification. So the first year that you're eligible, you take an 8-hour exam, which I had to breastfeed during. And then you have a 2-day oral board course in Arizona that's offered once a year, and you get 10 oral board examinations with 2 old grumpy men. I'm just teasing. And it's pretty intensive. It's probably the most single stressful life event. We joke about that, but once you get that, you go through a continuous medical education and maintenance of certification. So they're constantly testing us, checking our records, making sure that we're doing everything that we are doing. We have a code of ethics, we have morals, we have certain standards that we have to follow to keep that certification. So it means that you're going to be kind of having the most effective, state-of-the-art, safe surgeon. Cosmetic surgeons do, if it's just say they're a cosmetic surgeon, they do not need to have that type of training.
So what percentage of, I mean, I think we've all seen, Bravo, E-Channel. I mean, we've seen Botched, of course. So what would you say the percentage of board certified surgeons is to someone who doesn't, or is not board certified, but can still do like the cosmetic surgery? Is it 5%?
We don't know. So the scary thing about getting a medical degree and a state license for medicine, it allows you to do any procedure you want. There's no regulation. So the only things that regulate it are the boards and the hospital. So if you open up your own clinic, you can then perform whatever service you want.
Got it.
So it's really about educating patients and making sure that they understand who's doing it and how they're certified. So choosing a board certified specialist is always a good way to go.
Got it. Now, when you took over this med spa, obviously it's something that I have heard just amazing things about. Number one, just from it's like all white marble. I mean, it is like the best of the best, which obviously reflects the superiority of the services that are offered as well. And your staff, absolutely amazing, fully trained. You have a social media presence already, which we'll get to here in just a little bit. What are some of the things that you're most excited about in 2020, but also in 2021 for the med spa specifically?
Well, right. We're really excited about bringing on some new technology. One is called Body Tight or Face Tight, and it basically is a minimally invasive radio frequency that tightens the skin. So we basically can perform scarless surgery. So tightening of the arm skin, tightening of the abdominal skin, especially for women who have had babies or have lost weight and they lost that tone. It's really going to tighten it up and leave very little scarring. We also have the M-Sculpt, which is a electromagnetic machine that stimulates the muscle, and it can contract the muscle approximately 20,000 times in 30 minutes, and it's intense, and it's all FDA approved. It's very safe, very effective. So we almost call it like a robotic trainer. It's going to take your muscle to a level that you've never been able to get it to. The byproduct is additional fat loss. So that's a really exciting technology that we're going to onboard this year.
So you mentioned you did that, correct?
Right, I have. And you can do it in 2 different platforms. Right now it's FDA approved for 3 areas. So you can do the abdomen, and it is using 90% of the muscle, which you cannot physically do when you do your own workout. So it's super maximal muscle contraction. And then it has a portion where it's beating out the lactic acid, so you're not terribly sore. You can also use it on the gluteus or on the buttock, and you can prevent extra fat loss. So if you want a little bit of fluff, if you like the big booty, we can help you with that.
You just said the golden words for every female watching.
I know. So it's pretty amazing. It takes 30 minutes. You do about 2 sessions a week for 2 weeks, and you can have dramatic changes. It's called M-Sculpt. It's amazing.
So from what I understand, that's like cutting edge stuff that not very many people have access to.
Right. It is definitely newer technology. It's hot off the press. It's blowing up. Kim Kardashian does it. J-Lo does it. It's pretty amazing.
Wow. So how would you say you divide your time? Because I know you have an office and you have a med spa. So your availability, do you have to have a certain like consult in advance? Are you booked out for months? How easy is it to be able to get in at this point?
Well, we do try to accommodate people from everywhere. So obviously with the COVID scare, we are now offering video consultations, which is great. So you can do the consultation from the comfort of your own home, which our patients really love. I feel like they're more comfortable, they're more open. It kind of takes away the scare of being in an office or meeting a surgeon. We also have, we are offering consultations. We are totally COVID friendly. We are following all the state laws to make it so it's a very safe experience for you. And we usually can get patients in within 2 to 3 weeks. So
this leads me to my last question before we wrap up. We talked about cosmetic procedures. Obviously, there is some downtime. So for transformation folks who want to make that next step, and they really want to, I guess commit, so to speak, and maybe they do have a tummy tuck or a liposuction. I guess how far out is the downtime? Because usually in a 16-week prep, if they need 3 to 5 weeks to recover and then go into a 16-week prep, how do you typically recommend the timing out? Do you recommend 6 months doing it out and then getting into your prep, or during your prep? Where would you stand on that?
I think for surgery, because if you think of surgery, I was talking about this earlier, it's an injury and you need time to heal. So your results are going to be better. Your swelling needs about 6 months to go down. So if you know you're going to have a competition, the earlier you can get in and schedule and do your plan, the better. Especially if you need a total body lift, there might be areas that you want to address first and then go back and do another area. So it gives you an opportunity to really get everything exactly the way you want it before. And you don't want to be rushed. You want to make sure you're, optimal on your nutrition and you're not stressing out your new surgical wounds if you're exercising too much.
One of the things that you mentioned, Dr. Carpin, is really important because as Chris Cruz is a personal trainer and also has a lot of clients, what you just mentioned, most doctors don't mention, and it's about having your optimum nutrition on point. And so even though, we can do everything scientifically to the T and, and shred down as much as we can or lean down and hold on to as much muscle, there are just sometimes just stubborn areas, especially as new competitors, which we're just not happy with. Mm-hmm. And I'm really glad you said that because it's an alternative and it's an option for people. And it's not the way to go to be lazy during a prep, if that makes sense. So someone who wants to step on stage. Yes, go ahead.
Definitely. I agree. I mean, it's very difficult, especially I think for women or as we get older, our body really hangs on to certain parts of the fat. And no matter what you do, I wish we could tell our body, hey, take it from here, but we can't. And that's what liposuction is awesome for. Cool sculpting is just getting rid of those areas that no matter what you do, they don't go away. And so that would be perfect for someone who's, it's not feeling like you've been defeated. It's just understanding, hey, the science is I just can't get rid of this. So
yes. Yeah. And that has been true. And obviously the more that we work as competitors, the better we do sometimes to stay a little bit more on track in the off season. Mm-hmm. And I'm really glad that you did say something like that. I know that we have audience members who have been asking, okay, so how do I get in touch with you? I want to know a little bit more. Now we have Las Vegas who joined us, Troy Moore. Hello, sir. We've got a lot of pros too. So where would be the best place to find you? Facebook and Instagram. I know that you have those accounts set up and you're in the process of moving those over to your staff specifically. What are some of the best ways that they can get in touch with you?
They can follow us at Dr. Kim Carpin, which is DrKimCarpin.com, or at Aqua Med Spa.
How do you spell aqua?
I guess you don't have to do that at .com. Aqua is ACQUA. Or you can go to my website, which is either one, Aqua Med Spa or drkimberlycarpin.com.
Got it. Well, I got to tell you that a lot of times people ask, and there was a demand for you to be on here because people are like, okay, so I've got my trainer, I've got my posing coach, or I'm just wanting to make a better life decision. I know that, for moms out there who've had multiple kids, gravity takes its toll. And they're like, can you guys put a surgeon on? Because you know what? There's nothing we can do physically to be able to correct the issues that kids have taken a toll on. So
yeah, there's one other fact is, especially with your wife who just had twins, your muscle, the rectus muscle is going to get separated. You're going to get that rectus diastasis. You can do every sit-up in the world. It's not going to completely come together. And so that's where in a tummy tuck, we can do what we call an internal corset and put those two muscles back together so that it's that separation.
Funny you bring that up because I remember like one of the middle of the night feedings at like 3 or 4 a.m. She's like Googling that and tell me and something about stretches and sit-ups and exercises. Of course I'm foggy and out. It was like, just, okay, whatever, so, but knowing that that's able to be corrected, that's really good news. So
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Good. Well, we look forward to first of all, having you at the Storm Classic. And you might see Dr. Carpin on stage, maybe presenting a check or two. You never know. But you've been wildly helpful. And, we're going to, athletes are asking, hey, can you repeat that? We're going to upload this replay. And you did mention something that if you got a follow, that you might be able to give something to someone.
May give somebody something. We have some pretty fun $50 gift cards that we would happy to redeem if you follow us at one of our social medias at Dr. Kim Carpin or at Aqua Med Spa.
Very cool. So if you follow, make sure and put your information and how you heard about Dr. Carpin so she knows how to track it, and in turn be able to reward you with that, because that's huge. And I know for Chris Cruz's show, he had a plastic surgeon and, was offering very much the same thing. And, we're just excited to have you on board because number one, you're someone we trust. Number two is we know that you're the best out there because we've seen and interviewed other folks and we've vetted other folks. And, we know that your work speaks for itself, as well as just, your credibility and your history in the medical field. So
thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And we can't thank you enough. And we'll look forward to getting a good follow-up and hopefully having you back on soon.
Absolutely. Good night.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Kim.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Now we have another, we're going to shift gears a little bit. And I know that, that Melody and Gabor Farkas, we have two calling in. They're a power couple. We know that, they're the power couple, and they're going to be calling in as they're sitting in the truck right now and getting ready for Little League practice. So some of the folks, I know that they can't get on video if they're in a dead spot, but can you at least hear us?
Yes.
Very cool. Very cool. You know what? I just want to put a picture of you guys up on the screen share as we're talking. That might actually be kind of fun. I might dig into that. But, this is a couple that has really, and I don't even want to say this because it sounds pun intended, but really kind of taken GBO by storm this last year. Yeah, I said it. We had to do it. But for those of you who don't know a little bit about the Farkases, we have another doctor who is Dr. Farkas, and he is a chiropractor. He has his practice in Friendswood, Texas. He works with many GBO athletes already, and now he works with world champions in martial arts. He also has a long list of strongmen. Gabor, can you mention some of the people that you work with, or is that confidential?
Confidential, yeah.
Got it. And I don't want to mention any of the names, but I know some of the names that have been shouting him out on Facebook and on Instagram. Just some amazing people. And these are people at the top of their game in their chosen discipline. So I kind of figured you couldn't do that for, patient confidentiality, but I thought I'd see if I could get one or two names out of you. So totally cool. If Gabor, you can tell us a little bit about, really your road last year, because what's interesting is you went and watched a GBO show. And you were already kind of in fitness. I know that you have been featured in local TV shows, national TV shows. Tell us a little bit about Dr. Farkas.
Well, yeah, last year was kind of a crazy situation. I guess it was at V12, right? And I guess I had no idea that I was going to do a show. Had no plans, no thoughts about it at all. And then after that, listening to you guys talk kind of changed my mind. I knew where I wanted to be when I was 39 and then 40. So I'm like, okay, well, let's just set another goal and raise the bar high. And that was kind of the changing point. And so I just kind of went all in and, gave it my best shot and did really well.
So you came to the V12 posing seminar, and did you go watch a GBO show before you competed?
I went to, one in the Austin area. That was the Battle of Central Texas.
Okay. And I remember Melody, and I think that you are not on mute, so you are A-okay. Can you hear us okay, Melody? And if she can't, that's okay.
Mel, can you hear?
I see she doesn't have the green on, so I think she might be muted. So it's the lower left.
Is that better?
Corner. Oh, we can hear you.
Yeah, she was muted.
It's okay, guys. I was just muting myself.
Cool. So Melody, you also competed, I think, before your husband, way back when with another organization. So tell us what really got you interested in competing GBO.
Well, I went to the same seminar that Gabor was talking about at V12. And that was my first introduction to GBO. Prior to that, I didn't even know that there were other bodybuilding organizations out there. And then, of course, Gabor did the Storm, got his pro card at the Storm, and quite literally the next day I decided that I was going to go ahead and do the Atlas, which was amazing. So, I mean, it was kind of, fast and furious for both of us getting involved in the organization, but it's been wonderful.
Let's expand on that. You didn't just go do the Atlas. Let's kind of explain exactly what happened at the Atlas.
Yes.
Because it was something that is also, that as far as I know of, no other organization has ever done. And then you just go out there and let everybody know what happened.
So yes, so the day after the Storm, I got with Erin Elliott, who was at the time, she coached Gabor. So naturally, I gave her a call and I said, I think I'm about doing the Storm, or not doing the Storm, but doing the Atlas. And she said, okay, well, we have to start today, because it was like 3 weeks or so, and 3.5 weeks, something like that, until the Atlas. So I decided to do figure and shape. Figure I had done before, probably 12 plus years ago, in a different organization. And I did shape also, because we didn't know where the chips were going to fall. So I won my class in figure, and since the organization decided that if you got your pro card that day, you would be allowed to compete as a pro that evening. So, might as well. Did it that evening and ended up getting second place in figure, and it was quite an amazing day. So I am super excited about the shows that are happening this year, and hope to do as well this year as I did last year.
Absolutely, yeah, that was awesome. That was crazy, and I'm sure it was a very wild day getting your pro card and then competing in a pro show at the same day. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I fully did not expect for it to happen that way. It was amazing.
Right, awesome.
Tell us a little bit about what it's like to, first of all, have a husband and wife as competitors, and you also have 2 boys. So there's a lot of balance involved here. You have a husband, and Dr. Farkas, you have, I think, 2 practices, one in the Woodlands and one down in Friendswood. What's life like in the Farkas family, daily, weekly, monthly?
Crazy, chaotic, loud, like any other, I guess, competing husband and wife, and crazy boys and a dog and running all over the place. But honestly, we wouldn't have it any other way, because, without juggling 15 things at one time, I would feel like I'm not doing anything. So it really is a balance. And, that's why we're out here. I coach, both my kids' baseball teams, and the older one is I'm focusing all on his team this season. So I'm the head coach of that too as well. So it's, we're constantly on the go, and, meal prep is always going on in the house. And it's, of course we, argue a lot, but we were doing that before we were all in prep and doing everything. So, but that's us, but we love each other and the kids, and, they support us too. So it's just great.
So how old are your kids?
Lex is 8 and Johnny is 6. So they're very, the great thing is they're very aware of the sport that we're doing. They went to the shows, so they see it, they'll do little poses every now and then in the house because they see us posing. And, we really try to balance it with them. If we're going to require them to go to the gym and sit somewhere for an hour and a half, or hang out while we do cardio or whatever, or put up with our, chicken and rice for months on end, then we make sure that we do something for them that day. So if we spend 2 hours at the gym, then we make sure we spend 2 hours outside or doing something for them, so that, if they got to endure us, then it's the least we can do to make sure that we do enough kid stuff too. That helps. They like working out with us.
One thing I find usually is that a lot of times the kids will kind of take on the same habits as far as the eating habits. Have y'all found that to be a thing in y'all household?
Absolutely, yeah. The younger one is always like, "Mommy, Daddy, does this have protein in it? Does this have protein?" And he's flexing his muscles. So we're like, "Yes, it has protein. Good." So they have their little protein drinks that they make or that we give them and different things, and they love it. So they're all about eating healthy and doing good in sports. So
I think we might want to tell them, Chris, that right now, even though we can't see you speaking, we decided to screen share a latest gym shot. It looks like at Lifetime Fitness in Baybrook. I've got to tell you, Dr. Farkas, those green shorts are kicking, dude.
Yeah, my wife doesn't like them, but that's okay.
They're like leprechaun green, and they're just so green.
They're a little high too. I mean,
it's okay. It's okay. He's got to show those legs off and those calves off. We're loving it.
Okay. Well,
So
he's not moving the classic anytime soon.
We're working on it. We did legs today, so
that's a great segue. Let's talk about your plans for this year, both of you, as far as what shows you're competing in, because Melody, you're doing something that very few women or men can. And I know that you have, I think, 2 shows in mind this year. Is that correct? Tell us a little bit about that.
yes, I am starting off with the Legacy, and so it was supposed to be in June, and as everybody knows, it got moved to September. And I am going to try Classic at that show. I think it'd be fun. I think the idea of not wearing heels is wonderful. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. It's been a nice shift of training because I'm training differently for that. And the posing is very, very different. So that's a challenge, but I'm up for that. And then of course, 3 weeks later, I'm going to follow that up with the Storm, and I'm going to do figure at the Storm. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be fun to see how my body changes.
Yes. I mean, it's amazing how you can it's not a morph. It's just, you're changing your posing style and changing the way you're coming in conditioned, as those two criteria, they're not the same. They're a little different, but you're able to adapt to them and be competitive in both classes. So that's what's really amazing about that. So Dr. Farkas, you mentioned, I mean, you got your pro card, and then you were able to be helping out at the Atlas, and you got to see your wife compete from the stage. What was that like?
Oh man, it was amazing. It was just really cool to be able to see her do that and push so hard in such a short amount of time, and be able to present her the award was just an amazing thing that I'll always remember.
So here's the big question. Have you guys prepped together ever before?
No.
No.
This will be interesting. So
there might be some broken glass in the house and everything else, but we'll see.
Gotcha.
I'll be sleeping on the couch, one of the two, I'm sure.
And we've decided to homeschool the kids next year permanently. So it's going to be a really wild ride for the next 6 months.
Wow.
So we'll see how this goes. I'm sure we'll have a lot of
schedule this year, Dr. Farkas. You have, I guess men's pro beach body or men's classic, take your pick. What is your schedule this year?
Well, I'm definitely going to make my appearance at the Storm Classic for sure. I've had some setbacks this year. I tore my bicep, my left, in I guess November. It was healing up pretty good, and then I kind of did something freakish and then tore it again slightly. MRI the other night, it's healing, but Erin has just been amazing with me and my diet, so I've been able to put on some size, about 20 pounds, without going heavy in the gym. And unfortunately, I tore my meniscus as well. So I'm functioning at like 50%. But I'm still going to bring the best package that I can at the Storm. And I'm not going to use this as an excuse, but I'm definitely going to lift and continue to lift smart and not damage anything else. So, but I will be up there, and I will be looking good. So
good. Well, there are two comments that came across that I think both of you need to hear. Number one, we have David Rodriguez and Rosie who are prepping right now for the same thing. They're down in Galveston and they're prepping together. But also Tony Cortez, I think we need to chime in on this one. But he's saying that couples prepping together is like two honey badgers living together. LOL. Are both of you honey badgers?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Now,
it's going to be a battle of the wills. That is for sure.
So let's just say a hypothetical here. Let's say Melody places better than Gabor. What happens? Is that a win-win? Or is that
no,
I got my feelings hurt?
That's bragging rights, man.
That's she's got to sleep on the couch for 2 months. Oh, there's no love in this household. It's a battle. It's a battle.
Yeah, we are
super
super competitive.
Well, that's good. I mean, that we all are, pushing each other and got some incentive of who's going to get to sleep in the bed.
That I'm sure our coach is probably going to get a few phone calls from either one of us. Can you believe what he did?
Yeah.
He'll probably have a few words to
Yeah,
say
you know
about
what?
me.
And so I'll tell you some of the situations I've had with couples competing is when you give one a cheat meal and the other one you don't give a cheat meal for that week. So that's usually you kind of try to talk to them individually until the other one kind of sneak it in. But
that's kind of funny because we both use Aaron Elliott as our coach. So it's kind of funny. We'll both be like, has she adjusted your diet yet? I'm like, no, I haven't heard from her yet, but she adjusted yours. So we're always like, wait, what did she do to you? We're like always comparing, who gets more food and who doesn't.
So I have a really important question for both of you on that note. Do you guys slip up during prep? Have you ever slipped up during prep?
As far as with meals?
Like
diet, training, meals, anything, water?
No, Gabor, I watched him prep for the Storm last year, and he didn't. He didn't. God bless him, he didn't. And mine was so short, I didn't have time to cheat. If I cheated, I was going to blow the whole thing. So we'll see this go on.
So
yeah, I think all joking aside, it's we really do push each other, and that's been the toughest thing this year with me being hurt, and she's really been by my side. You're going to do this, you're going to do this, and usually I'm on the other end of talking everyone up. You've got to keep pushing, you've got to do this, you got to do that, but she's definitely been one of the strong points to me to keep going forward. So we make a good team.
Good. Well, I would say this for those of you guys are both pros. That's not number one. That's not an easy accomplishment is to get a pro card now as the quality of our athletes are getting stronger and better. It's just not easy to get a pro card, let alone having a husband and wife get their pro cards in the same year. So, I know that Gabor, for you, I know that a lot of athletes follow you already. For someone who wants to follow your journey, what's the best way that they can follow you? Instagram, Facebook, both, either?
Instagram, Facebook. Reach out. I'm more than willing to talk to people, give them my cell phone, text. Pretty much all the and there's some good competitors coming up that have been coming into the office and working with Aaron. And I'm very proud of those people because they're just crushing it, and can't wait to see their progress. So I'm always willing to talk, and anyone reach out whenever they want to. So
very good. Is it Dr. Gabor Farkas for Instagram and Facebook?
It's a good question. I have no idea what it is.
It is. I just gave you the answer. It's okay. Just agree with me.
What is it? I don't know. Yeah.
No worries. We got you. And then Melody, how can people follow you in your journey through these next 2 shows that you have?
The same way, I'm real active on Instagram and Facebook, and it's, Melody Farkas, GBO Pro, and it's just Melody Farkas on Facebook. But yeah, definitely, we have some really good competitors coming this year. I'm excited to see how the season goes, and if anybody has questions or is thinking about competing or wants to know more information, you can always send me a message on Facebook or Instagram. I'd be more than happy to talk with you.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you. Isn't it Melody Manlove Farkas? Is that the official for Facebook?
No, I think it's just Melody. No, I think it might be. You might be right.
It's okay. I think they'll find you either way, but we just wanted to make sure. I mean, because I know you guys do talk to a lot of other competitors, amateurs and pros, and you're unconditionally helping people, and that's one of the things that we really appreciate about you guys. And I think a lot of these new amateurs that are coming in, they need someone to look up to, and sometimes they need advice. And you guys have been really gracious and very generous with your time and really your resources and knowledge. So that's what makes us all better. And that's what our whole organization was founded on in the first place. So you guys are great examples of that. And we definitely appreciate you guys doing that.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I do want to respect your time. I know, Gabor, you have a little league, you have a little league team waiting on you. So, we can cut it there. And, we do look forward to seeing you guys, obviously on stage, but more importantly, we're really excited to follow your journey through these next few preps and really finish in 2020 strong and really making a, even a bigger impression in our organization.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much.
Well, guys, thank you for your time. You guys enjoy your weekend, and we'll be talking soon.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Yo, baby.
Thank you, guys.
So to finish up the show, we have a couple of announcements. I know that for those of you who didn't see Chris Cruz's announcements, Chris, tell us what's going on in GBO, Louisiana.
Okay, so Monday, Louisiana governor, they gave out their phase 2 for the coronavirus stuff going back to normal, all that. They have opened up venues to 50% in Louisiana. So that gives us both venues a fighting chance to have our shows. And the distancing thing, I have been told that is going to be okay also on stage for the athletes. So as you know, that was one of our biggest things with GBO. We wanted to make sure we were able to judge our athletes correctly while on stage. So we've got that ironed out. So, and that was the last thing I needed to hear, man, was that the venues are open and that we can be on the stage. So I made the announcement today that our 2 shows in Louisiana are a green light, man. We're going forward. So we got the October 3rd, the show that I promote in Sulphur, the Louisiana State Championships at the West Cal Convention Center. And then we got GBO Pro Brandy LeBlanc is promoting the La Rouge there in Baton Rouge. So we're very excited, and we've been kind of laying in the weeds, waiting to get confirmation, and now it's go time. So so we're very excited about that. Along with our remaining Texas shows, we're full steam ahead. So we're very optimistic about everything now, a lot more than we were. So it's go time.
Yes. And just to give a little recap on the rest of the year, because there have been a lot of questions. And so just to set the record straight, we will be having the Max Muscle Classic. That will be August 15th in it's a little bit southeast of Atlanta. And it's going to be in Georgia, which Stephanie McNeil is promoting that show. And from what I'm understanding, that's going to be just a really fun show to watch. Has an amazing staff and organized and lined up. We also, that following weekend, have the Miami Classic that Dan Olson is putting on in Miami, Florida. So August 22nd, those are the 2 shows, August 15th and August 22nd, Georgia and Florida. When we move into September, let's talk about the 2 Texas shows, Chris. Tell us about the SPI and the Legacy.
All right, so we got SPI coming up. That one is September 19th, I believe, down in South Padre Island. Your promoters for that are Lisa and Scott Ramsey. We all know they're very two enthusiastic people, and they blood, sweat, and tears, man, are put into their show. So I'm not 100% sure of all the events they have going on, because some things have changed, of course, to the virus and stuff. But I know for a fact that they've got the South Texas Pullers down there, the arm wrestling tournament going on. I believe there's a strongman or maybe even a powerlifting show. I don't want to, really say that because I'm not 100% sure on those, but I believe one of those two is happening. And then, of course, man, they had a great turnout last year, and they're expecting to have an even bigger turnout this year. So they're ready to go, man. I guarantee you they're chomping at the bit to go. So we're very excited about that show, and I'm actually going to be able to make it this year. So very excited about that.
Good. Is the registration open right now?
Yes, all registrations are open.
Good. And then we have after the week after Scott's and Lisa's show, we have the Legacy. And Todd Rogers is the promoter of that show. The Legacy, tell us about that.
So we got Legacy September 26th. It is Todd Rogers' show. Is promoted as one of it's basically as far as I'm concerned, our flagship natural show. At this time, he had a great turnout to his show last year. They are doing women's pro classic bodybuilding, men's pro beach body. Is he doing another? Is that it?
Yes, and men's pro standard bodybuilding.
Yes. So that's going to be a great show. We know Todd runs a smooth, beautiful show, man, and so we're obviously looking forward to that one also.
And for those of you, just to backtrack a little bit, Stephanie's show is a tested show. Todd's show, the Legacy and the Max Muscle Classic are both tested shows. The Miami Classic and also the SPI Fit Expo are two non-tested shows. So, really to finish up the year strong, we had no idea if we were even going to be able to do shows this year. This has been an ongoing debate that we've had many meetings and calls on to try and figure out how to serve the athletes best. Number one, for safety and procedures. But also number two is to make sure that we could put on a show that was going to be worth watching and really make it. We don't want to water GBO down. And so now that we have these green lights and things are starting to open up and look up for us, October will be our biggest and busiest month. As October 3rd, Chris, as you talked about your show at the West Cal Arena in Sulphur, Louisiana, we will follow that with. We will follow that also October 17th with Brandy's show in Baton Rouge. It looks like the Storm Classic will be the last show of the year. Is I know that Bob had to make a really difficult decision, unfortunately, but it is the right decision. And, when we're talking about an international, and I do want to talk about this for a second, because I think it's important that everybody understand, and I know that everybody does. When you run an international show, you have to make an even playing field for all countries to be able to make it, because there are Atlas crowns at stake. So they made the right decision by making sure 2021, they're already planning and starting for that. And that's one of the best things I love about our organization is our leaders. Even though they made the difficult decision, they made the right decision. So, even though our show is, draws people from all over the country, a national show is much different from an international show. So, I've gotten some, hey, what's the rest of the year going to look like for GBO? So we wanted to really map that out for you, so you know what your options are. And it doesn't matter right now if you're in prep or not. I think most of you are just itching to get on a stage. And we're working to provide those things. Now, I do want to say this tongue in cheek, nothing is 100% until it happens, no matter what. And we are 99.99%, making sure that, God forbid anything happen, we're moving forward in that we are running a show, and we want to put it on confidently, but we also want to make sure that you guys understand that we're doing everything within our control to do that. So we're just excited for the athletes that have reached out to us. And I know that we have fielded hundreds of messages, thousands, if not, and, just phone calls. Hey, what's left? What's going on? What can I look forward to? And I visited a gym. I have to say this. I visited a gym this morning, and there were people who said, you know what? Thank you for doing what you're doing, because, you know, we've done the homework and the research, and it's very exciting to be able to say that we took a risk by making sure that we could say, hey, we're, as far as we know, we're still a go, and still a go. And all indicators are pointing to that right now. So Lisa even said, in Jesus' name. So we got you, Lisa. And I know that they're making that final trip to finalize plans, safety meetings, procedures next week. So they travel back and forth, and you know, super dedicated. So up next will be Stephanie's show, Dan's show in Miami, and then when we hit Texas, it is all guns a-blazing. So and we're really excited that they've stayed the course as well, because as a promoter, I'll tell you, there are a lot of moving parts that go into making a show what it is. And, you know, it's from ordering trophies to badges to getting staff together, organized, investing a lot of money, and making sure that, you know, some of that money, it's non-refundable. So we want to do it. And that's one of the best things about, I think we're starting to see that light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm not going to beat a dead horse on that. But Chris Cruz, you've got the last word this fine evening.
So one thing I want to kind of point out now is we look at our itinerary coming up for shows. It's kind of stressful on our judges and staffs going show to show. I want to point out, next year we plan on adding more shows. So we're going to start running thin on already scorekeepers, judges. So guys, if any of y'all are interested in getting involved with GBO, especially on that end as far as judges, scorekeeping, we're every year we're outgrowing those phases of our shows. So so please keep in mind, if you know anybody, that if you have an itch to maybe judge, see what it's about and all that, scorekeeping, kind of keep it in mind and think about it, because we could definitely use help in those areas for sure. Like I said, we're expanding next year, so that's going to put even more of a strain. And we've got great judges, we've got great people. We just need more of them. So
you bring up a good point too, because a lot of the athletes ask us, hey, what goes into judging? Well, you know what, as an athlete, or, just as a spectator, we're welcoming you to take the exam and to get involved and to know the criteria, because the more you understand that, the better athlete that makes you, but also the better spectator. Yes. So that way, if you are sitting in the crowd and you are a certified judge, you can see, what the judges are seeing.
Yes.
And so a lot of you who've been contacting and said, how do I get my judging? Contact Todd Rogers. He can give you the exam, email it to you. You take it, email it back. He will go through an evaluation with you. And I got to tell you, we want people who want challenge, and judging is not easy, but it's well worth it once you do that, because, you're an elite part of our crew at that point. We also are training our expediter staff. Alethea has done an amazing job in running calls, reaching out to people and having individual calls with the folks that are going to be in new positions this year. And, those are people who are also learning the ropes. So as we grow, ideally, we want more staff than shows. And, the way that the demand has played out in our marketplace is we have athletes coming from all over the place, and we didn't expect this kind of surge, and it's a positive thing. And we'd love to have you on board if that's something that you're interested in. So definitely reach out to Chris Cruz if you're in Texas. I've already had calls, and just a number of people in California and Arizona and Las Vegas alone who were already getting ready to go for 2021. Next year starts now. It doesn't start next year.
Absolutely.
So, and that's one of the things, Chris, that I appreciate you bringing up on the call. So
and you're exactly right. Planning for that starts now, because we're planning our shows next year now. So that's absolutely correct. Yeah.
And there are some exciting announcements coming up with these new shows too. So I'm not gonna spoil it, but man, next week, do you want to talk about next week and who we have as far as a guest?
Right now we have Dan Olson on board. So we're going to start getting out our shows coming up. And we got the Miami Classic coming up and all that. So we want to make sure we're getting those shows out there, the aspects of their shows, the uniquities of their shows, maybe even get some of their sponsors or maybe their other events, stuff like that on, to talk up their shows and let you know why you should be there.
Yes. And we will have a surprise guest too. I know who it is already, but why don't we keep that one in suspense, and we'll just wait for to unveil. How's that? Well, guys, appreciate you tuning in. As once again, we love being with you guys on Friday nights. You know, I know that our wives asked for date nights, but we said we would rather be with you guys. We can take them out on a Saturday night. So until then, tune in next week. We will upload the replay to the GBO Bodcast Facebook page. If you have questions, message us. Feel free to reach out. Let us know what we can do to help you and support you in the roles that you want to be in. And we look forward to talking to you next week. Same time, same place, 5:30 p.m.
Later.